Welcome back to the trying to fix everything on my E39 saga. If you're watching this, you probably watched part one, but just to quickly recap, basically bought a massive pile of parts for everything I could think of affecting the car, and then spent about 50 minutes installing everything. I think a lot of good progress was made, but this video is all about cosmetic stuff. Before I start, I just want to thank everybody for watching part one. That video did about 25 times better than anything else I've ever uploaded, and it doubled the subscriber count of this channel in its first month. I'm really glad everybody enjoyed it. A lot of new people found the channel. Thanks very much. Let's get back to where we left off a couple months ago. Get out of there. Just rubbish. This should work. There you go, come on. So these are pre-facelift grills on the facelift car because I just think pre-facelift looks better. I don't really like the big chrome border. This is the right side of the bonnet sitting in the car. You can see the panel is a little bit high compared to the fender here, but if we go to the left side, you can see here it's a little bit low. Now I've got two new hood stop buffers. Hopefully that will fix the problem. I'm going to take a couple measurements and we'll see. This one doesn't look new. It's just got some white sort of, I don't even know what you call this, oxidation for rubber. But yeah, you can see this one's a bit old and compressed and doesn't really have any spring, unlike this one. I think that might be dry lubricant to install it. 19.5 and a little bit higher. Yeah, right there. Right there. The left side also looking perfect now. That was satisfying and really easy and cheap. Next, I'm going to have a go at repainting the front bumper to take care of a bit of damage and some paint issues. I don't know what kind of knuckle dragon Neanderthal put this on the car, but it's definitely got to go. This mount can just be finger tight for now. Once the bumper's back on, I'll adjust the gaps and tighten it down fully. This right here is a replica M5 bumper slash M-Tech bumper. Really the only difference is the lower insert here. And the problem with this one, other than the paint being really bad, is that the lower insert is an M5 style one with no center bar, and the brake ducts have been just cut out really roughly. Looks kind of crap. I don't want to look like I'm pretending I have an M5. I want to gradually M-sportify this car, including the rear bumper and stuff like the sway bars and things like that. But that means I need to replace this with a proper one. And credit where it's due, even though this is fake, a real insert actually fits, as I found out. I ordered this one. This is a genuine M-Tech insert. Also needs repainting, but if I put it around the right way, everything lines up and it does fit, even the positions of these little posts that have to come through here. Probably use a couple of screws or something in a tactical spot to make sure it doesn't come out. Maybe I can just plastic weld it, but it fits and it looks fine. And now I have an M-Tech bumper, not a pretend M5 bumper. So gonna repaint this, get it looking good, install that, repaint this insert, and then we're cooking. I wanted to try using paint stripper for the bumper just to get down to the bare plastic and give myself a blank slate, but I definitely won't be in a rush to use this method again. Not only did it involve a lot of fumes and mess, but I ended up still having to do a lot of sanding anyway, and I think in future I'd rather just start with sanding and then focus on getting a smooth surface with good adhesion rather than just going all the way back to the base material. The last step before painting is just to use a little tack cloth to get rid of any dust particles and debris on the surface. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my hands on any M Sport brake ducts in time for behind here. So I'll sort that out at a later date, but I'm not too worried because this car doesn't go very fast. And we have no Autobahns and it's not going to the track. So I think we'll live without them for a bit. Painting is one of those things I want to improve on. Same with welding. Those are two of my weak spots in terms of restoring cars and working on them. And there's only one way to practice. Now I just need fog lights. I can't remember why this is a Phillips. Maybe I lost a screw, but that Torx one doesn't bite very well with this non-genuine lens, so I might have to swap them all. I have to rewatch my own video. Because mine are already broken, it's really easy and just slides out. What? Just come off. Oh, what was that? Ah. All right. Officially, if I wanted to go fully factory style, I'd have to re-electroplate this whole thing or swap it out with a new one so it had that chrome finish. I'm fine with satin silver because it's going to match stuff like my interior trim and the wheels anyway. So we're just going to do regular satin metallic. I think it'll look good. The printer has come in clutch. Managed to make a replacement for the thing I broke down here. So that is excellent because I had a quick search around, couldn't find anyone selling that. They sell these two, the upper two adjusters. Couldn't find a listing for the bottom one. Maybe there is one, but even if there is, I need this headlight back on the car tonight so I can drive. So this will allow me to do that. Yes, 3D printing. There's nothing else like it. I ordered these lenses about 3 years ago. I originally just redid the lights because they were foggy, and then about a year after that I did the Xenon kit. But when I ordered them, they didn't show up, and I said, hey, they didn't show up, and then I got 2 sets. And then I said, hey, I have an extra set, do you want me to send it back? They never replied, so I just kept them as a spare. They're not very expensive, so we're just going to swap them on now while it's open, and hopefully be the last time I have to touch these headlights because I'm a bit sick of it. I also painted this because they don't come with it, just to match. It was amber. I de-ambered the headlights. So we're going to chuck these in. Mistake I made last time was I glued this with an acrylic-based super glue, and then when it cures, you get that cyanacrylate. Cyanacrylate? I don't know how to say it. You get a haze. To get around this issue, I'm basically just going to use the soldering iron to plastic weld the two pieces together. This little end cap is made of polycarbonate. Now the lens doesn't actually say what it's made of, but polycarbonate is a good guess because it's clear, it's strong, there's not much else it could be. And I don't know if you can see, but they are fusing really well together. So I'm just going to kind of tack them together in a couple places. This means I don't need to use any glue. It's probably more similar to how it would be made in the factory originally, and I won't have issues with that hazing. Obviously, you want to be careful you don't melt through the lens. This is just a little bit of a tack to hold it in place. I've noticed that over the 2 years or so that I had the previous lenses on the car, they were just starting to fade slightly and turn a bit yellow. So I'll be wrapping these in some PPF when I get a chance to try and maximize their lifespan. New gasket for up top here. Having just taken the headlights completely apart, they're now totally out of alignment, but correcting them is easy. Just find a nice blank wall, either at night or underground, park as close as you can to the wall, and set some markers with tape at the vertical and horizontal center of the beam. Then back up to about 10 meters away and adjust the beams to align with the vertical center and sit just below the horizontal marking. This will make sure they're pointed slightly downwards and won't blind other drivers. I like using LEDs for the angel eye bulbs to match the color of the xenons, but if you've ever tried this on an E39, you'll know you end up getting a strobe light effect every time you start the car. At the moment, I'm testing a simple flash canceller I've come up with, which seems like it might solve the problem. If you're interested in seeing how it works, leave a comment below so I can gauge if there's enough interest to make a video about it. Try and not break it. Thank you. So I have a replacement here, and if you've ever seen this panel before, you'll know that this is aftermarket because it's two-piece. The genuine one isn't that crazy expensive, but the shipping is because it's one piece. To get it all the way over to Australia costs more than the part. It's like $500 or $600 ordeal just to replace this thing. This actually looks pretty good for aftermarket. Fits nicely, everything's good. I just had to transfer these old bushing pad things over because the ones this came with were too thick and installed on the wrong side and one was missing. And the price of this was $160 instead of $610. So that's a big saving, and it's money I can save on a fairly minor part for much more important things. The one thing this part is missing is a rubber seal at the top. The factory version is a multi-material injection molded part, and it has this seal fused to the top edge. With this cheaper one, you don't get what you don't pay for, so I've had to source my own. Luckily, only about $5. One of the last engine bay jobs here is fitting this panel. For whatever reason, this car never had one, and this is the only usable one I could find in the entire country because they just crumble to pieces from the heat. So that's why I've wrapped this one in foil tape. I know it doesn't look the best, but it is just a functional part, and if this helps extend its lifespan, I think it's worth it. can never work out if this is attached or not. This air duct thing seemed very fussy. Anyway. Next up are the wheels. I turned 25 at the start of the year, and for my birthday I received a fully developed prefrontal cortex. On this same day I realized that silver is the correct color for wheels on basically every vehicle, with the exception of rally cars, on which they should be white. I'm not pulling out all the stops with this paint job because I want to eventually design and machine my own custom set of wheels, so for this Style 66 set it's just going to be a simple refinish in standard DIY fashion. I have some new mirrors to put on. These are, I think, called Euro Spec. Don't really know what that means because this entire car is Euro Spec, but it pretty much has a slight warp so you can see your blind spot a bit better. These are very old school 90s mirrors. Can't really see anything. Hopefully this is pretty straightforward. I've been told you just tilt the glass down and then lever it off or something. So we unplug the heater cables here. Actually quite polite after 25 years, thank you very much. Put that aside gently, bit of a clean while we're in here. These look like they go on either prong. Shouldn't have any polarity, just simply just a heating wire. There's something there, and something there. Let's see if it adjusts. So left and right works, but up and down doesn't. I see what has occurred. Now I need to do some repair shit. That's annoying. Okay, so here's the issue. These are the little adjustment rods for the mirror, and the ball joint off of this one broke. So I could adjust left and right, but not up and down. This is not a part you can just buy and replace. You have to buy the mirror unit as a whole, which isn't terribly expensive, but it is a waste because everything else about it is fine. So luckily I was able to print a replacement. Probably the smallest functional print I've ever done. Probably smallest print I've done at all, full stop. But it looks like it may work. I'm hoping you can see there that the teeth interlock well. So that means that should engage with the motor fine. Also snaps into place. So fingers crossed, this works. I'm going to go put it back together and we'll test it out. Looks like that all works. I'm scared. Ooh, there's one. No way! Does that actually work? How good is that? Yes. 1 cent of material has now saved me buying a whole new wing mirror. This shifter boot, or lack of it, was quite a mission to sort out. I think I finally got a solution here. But it was a trek because I couldn't find any part numbers for a right-hand drive shift boot. Everything online I could find was left-hand drive, and everything right-hand drive I could have been able to get from a UK wrecker was either sold or it was going to be £100. They didn't really want to send it over to Australia. So I had a look around and I found a website called Kobe Wheel, and the owner, Mike, he makes these made-to-order Alcantara boots. And so I emailed him, I just said, hey, I'm in Australia, I need right-hand drive, could you just mirror the image, the pattern that you use for this, and make me one for my car? And he said yes. Super nice guy, easy to work with. He didn't charge me anything extra, so thanks to him for that. Now, all I did was hack up my old auto shift surround. This is not the proper use of heat set inserts, but I just had a surplus and these only need to be finger tight. So I printed up a little frame that will clamp down on the boot here, and I think once it drops in, it should look the part. Should snap in. Nice and tidy. Looks pretty good. And I do have a new shift knob as well with some matching silver there. And that's it. Oh, it looks so much better. So thank you, Mike, Kobe Wheel, for helping me out with that. Literally no one else was able to solve the problem for me. And to finish off this area, I have also made a little cup holder insert because I didn't really like the cup holders. I've got left and right hand drive versions on my site with a link in description if any of you guys are interested. About a year ago, I made a video where I wrapped these 6 upright panels with a faux suede coating called Alcantara. That brand's gone now, but you can still get it, the exact same thing, in other places. They were just drop shipping. It's on AliExpress, it's on a bunch of different websites. Pretty much, here's the year-long update. Everything still looks good. There's no wrinkles or sagging that I can see, no discoloration or anything like that. So given it's been a success, I'm going to do the rear parcel shelf and a couple other pieces with the same material now that the trial has worked. Looks pretty neat. Let's see if that works. About 2 years ago, my sunroof broke and I don't really like it and it was leaking, so I decided to just permanently seal it up with silicone, and then I removed the switch so that I didn't accidentally open it, and I removed the fuse so that I can't open it with the key when I hold unlock. I just printed up this little mic retainer thing here and put it where the switch went. That's been there for about 2 years, no issues. And I definitely didn't need to remove the trim from this, but oh well. Phone mount. I know it's a bit of a weird spot for a phone, but I have the cup holder insert, don't want to get rid of that. It doesn't really fit in the armrest tray, and I usually have other stuff there anyway. I don't want it in the vent, like I said, and I don't use it for maps because I have CarPlay, so I may as well just go up here out of sight. It's time to redo this. This is one of the remaining relics of the times gone by when this was just a cheap project to mess around with. It's now an expensive project to mess around with. Okay, I've got this as clean as I can. There's a bit of leftover backing from the old material, but I don't think the Alcantara wrap is going to have a problem sticking to that because that's kind of what the A-pillar trims are made of. I didn't have a problem with them on the car. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can wrap this up. That seam is not ideal, but I hope the seat cushion will cover it. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get a sheet wide enough to do all this in one piece. Oh, there you go. Next, luckily, just about covers that seam. If you look closely right on the edge, you can see it, but I'll forget it's there and I don't think a passenger would ever notice it. So happy enough with that. Unfortunately, just don't quite have the time to chase these sort of issues forever. Need to make overall progress. Done. This is pretty classic E39 door card behavior. On the front door cards, this top panel is fused to the rest of it, so that's why I had to paint it. But on the back, they separate, and after 25 years, usually quite easily because half the glue has failed anyway. And we let that sit overnight. When you're dealing with old butyl sealant, you might find it sticks to your fingers a lot, way more than new stuff. And it's also really hard to use with gloves for the same reason. If you're scrubbing your hands, you can't get it off, try some brake cleaner on a cloth. It'll usually melt it off. And then obviously you can go wash your hands with soap and water like normal. Apparently somebody's mechanic decided the best way to access this plug is just to cut a hole in the vapor seal. I think I'm going to just try and use the same butyl sealant on the edge here, heat it up, and then maybe cover it with some duct tape again. This hole in the passenger armrest has annoyed me for over 3 years, so I'm finally taking care of it with a bit of Kinsa glue. This is just an adhesive putty that you can really easily mold to different shapes, and once it's cured overnight, you can also sand it and paint it if you need to. Not perfect color match, but it should lighten up a little bit after it dries, and it's definitely better than it was. E39s love to rust under the fuel cap here, mainly because there's no drain. Don't know why, because there's models before this car and plenty of models after that came with one, but this one didn't. So we need to try and clean this rust up to repaint it, and I'll see if I can do anything about a drain hole as well. Bit of a rust converter. Gonna follow up the rust converter with this nice thick black acrylic paint. Doesn't need to look perfect because it's kind of a hidden part of the car. The other reason I'm not too fussy about this paint job right now is because I'm hoping to one day respray this car in a different color, and if I'm doing that, no sense going crazy on this right now. Okay, I've got a plan with this drain. I'm gonna do a small hole first, check with the endoscope that it goes where I think it's gonna go. Okay, this is a little hard to see, but there is some light, and if I cover it, yes, that is the hole. 10 millimeters. I'm gonna use some of the same thick paint here just to protect it from corrosion. Pull that through. Then I can take this grommet. All that's left to do now, slide this L-shaped fitting over this tube here, and then guide the remainder of this guy through there. And now it'll just drain out behind the back wheel. This is pretty easy to install, and I'm quite happy with it actually. So I think I'll put it on my site. If any of you have an E39 and you want to add this kit to your car, I'll leave a link in the description. If anyone's not familiar with what I'm doing here, this is a clay bar. We use this before doing paint correction on a car that's been outside exposed to the elements for a long time. You don't want to use this every time you ever polish your car. It's a little bit aggressive, but for something like this that lives outside, hasn't been cleaned in a long time, it's good. Now you can probably see this is steaming a bit. It is winter here in Sydney, but that still means it's about 20 degrees and sunny. And on a black car, the paint still gets really warm. So have to work pretty quickly, small areas, half a panel at a time. Same goes for washing and polishing as well. It would be ideal if it was overcast or if I was in a garage, but it's gonna rain for the next week. So I have to do this today, and I can't use the garage because my next project is taking that hostage at the moment, which I'll show you all soon. So it's a driveway for the BMW today. This is how the clay bar looks after that section of the bonnet. You can see all the little impurities and contamination we pulled out of the paint with it. So after you've done a section, just fold it over, squish it back together, and you'll have a relatively clean side. Generally, you can do this probably 30 times or so before the bar has too much dirt in it. And if you're doing a really neglected car that's lived outside, you might expect to go through 2 clay bars. This is a Maguire's one. It comes in a 3-pack, so it's plenty for this car as well as something else in the future. So there we are, hundreds of hours and parts later, the E39 is looking amazing. It handles just the way a true sports sedan should, and the engine runs, actually the engine sounds about the same. So yeah, remember when I said this? I'm pretty much trying to eliminate everything minor that could be that ticking noise I have. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to reconsider my whole life. This car has been reliable enough to daily drive, and aside from that noise, the transformation has been night and day. But in order to call it restored, I might have to rethink my approach a little.